Right. All right, hello and welcome. As you can see, I have a beautiful presentation in front of you, which is a blank board, okay, blank Excel sheet. And what we're going to talk about today are two different aspects. One is about team building. Let me just write it down for you guys. Okay. So these are the topics for the day. So one is called as team. The second one is called as client retention. Okay. All right, so before we start with this client thing, so there is a kind of a particular pattern that I would like you guys to have a look at it. So number one pattern, this is something that probably running about so many businesses, running with so many CEOs, probably more than 700 odd number of CEOs. This is the one pattern which I feel everyone should do it. Some of them do it. Some of them, they still are figuring out how to do it. And it's a very simple thing. Number one is you have to keep up prioritizations. Okay. Now, who is at what priority? Number one, the first priority is your clients or customers. Cool. Sorry about the spellings, guys. You have to help me with the spellings because I'm just using a new keyboard now. All right. So client and customers becomes the first priority. The second priority comes with your team, and the third priority goes to the management, and the fourth priority goes to you. All right, so this is the hierarchy. Every business, if you're earning $1 or 1 penny or 1 cent or whatever the currencies that you have right now, technically this is what you have to understand is the number one priority goes to the client, second has to be the team, third has to be the management, and fourth and the last one, probably if you have anyone else, you should have the last priority as yourself. So when I say priority, this is how the service has to flow. This is the grammar. This is how, you know, the ancient scripts and all the leaders have actually been following this. Now, when we saw about the team, so I'm not talking about clients and customers at this point of time. I'll talk about that a little later, because the first thing is now you are already at a kind of an activated stage by which you are looking at this video or watching this video, or probably are participating as well. That means you have already taken your mind to that next level, right? Point number two, once you have made up your mind that you want to do something, that something has to give you some sort of, you know, exchange policy, right? So you devoted yourself about understanding anything, you know, I call it as learning, right? So once you have learned stuff, then you started implementing these things, right? And once learning has grown to that level that you are able to use certain informations, channelize it out in a kind of an implementation pathway, and thereby you are rendering service, and that's actually giving you something in return, and that is called as earning. Now people think earning can be just money. No, earning is not money. Earning can be loyalty, earning can be love, earning can be respect, earning can be popularity, earning can be name, fame, prosperity, anything. Even blessing is an earning, right? You need to give something in return. If you are exchanging $1 also, you need to give something in return. So for the first thing is you have to be ready to serve. Serve is the only way by which you can be, you know, successful. So once you serve in a kind of an organized manner, in a kind of a manner which has a kind of a discipline into it, that's called organization. Make sense? So you have certain principles of serving as well. Okay, I serve to this extent. I'm going to do this, all those things. There are certain raw materials required. There are certain products required. All these things, right? So let me just put my mic here. Just 1 second. There might be some background, you know, disturbances. Sorry about this. This got disconnected. So guys, I just want you to probably unmute yourself and let me know if you're able to hear me clearly. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
All right. So quickly just moving into the next thing is in the management, it might be, you know, management can be of many ways. It can be, the first one is called as self or solo. Okay. Then you have a lot of other things. Let me just probably put it this way. Okay, how do we write it here? Okay, that can be self or solo, and this can also, I think it better, let me just put a kind of a comment here. Okay, self or solo. The next thing, which I call it as a little bit of an advanced structure, I call it as automated. Okay. Then you have a small team. Still you are a solopreneur, so I call it as the brand head. That means you are working by yourself, but you might have got secretaries or some kind of people along with you to work with that. Then after that comes your team, okay, of team of people where you have hired, with different KRAs. If you don't know what is KRA, KRA is key responsibility areas or job descriptions. You have got proper jobs allocations and divisions of labor you have done. I call it as the DIL. Right. So this is the hierarchy where the management goes in, and then you might have got stakeholders or investors, all the other stuff, right? So this is how basically a typical management looks like, right? So you got this entire understanding right now. So you start with yourself, and then it goes to the management, the discipline. So now we have got to understand the next level of organization. When I say organization, organized way of moving into. Now let's understand the team. So when it comes to the team, what kind of team to be, hired? What do you have to train them up, and what are the other elements? So this is one of the things that I wanted to share with you today. So very quickly, let us make a kind of a quick, small, and easily understandable, probably X and Y chart. And I think this is the best way to do this, I guess. Okay. Pardon me, I'm just using some kind of an easy element by which we can make a X and Y chart. So typically, let's put this as an X and Y, right? So you've got these 4 quadrants, and I call this as the quadrants of trust, and the next quadrant is of skill. Okay, I don't know if it is visible here. Yeah, great. So this is the trust quadrant, and this is the skill quadrant. The skill is on top, so this is like growing high. Okay, so whenever you are on the right side of it, if you are able to see the right side of it, let me just put a kind of color to this. It'll be easy for you guys. Yeah, so the blue color. So if you have a high level of a trust and a very high level of a skill, then please find out those guys in your team, in your system, in your organization, in your associations or group. Might be just Facebook group also. That's fine. Find out those guys who have high skill and high trust. These are the guys, I call them as the CEOs, the brand ambassadors. Give them all the freedom. Give them that kind of, the powers by which they can actually exercise you, because they are already trustworthy guys. They already know what to do, right? They have been probably there with you. They're experienced because they are skilled. So the first thing that you need to do is believe and give the responsibilities. Cool. So once you have understood these are the guys, because they would be the driving force behind your company, your skills, and this is what I am also doing it. So whenever I find out somebody who has a kind of a very heavy skill set, very high level of a trust, then immediately what I do is I help them to become the founders and a co-founder. I think it's the right word, co-founders. All right. I create them as a brand ambassador, right? Give them all these freedoms and the powers to design their entire stuff. And yes, I also keep a very close understanding with them. So it is more about the relationship. Okay. And there has to be some areas where you are actually adding values here. But this adding values is happening in their life. All right, so this is basically the first quadrant. Let's quickly go to the other quadrant. Now, what is in this quadrant? So this is a quadrant. Let me just probably write it down here. Is a high skill and a high trust. Okay, I think it's more understood here. Okay, and in this quadrant on the left hand side, where you have got high skill but low trust, right? Low trust and high skill. Cool. So if you look at this particular kind of a quadrant, and let me just give a little bit of a different shade. I rather give some sort of this kind of shade. This is a shade where you have to work with people, because you cannot have directly just trust and without a skill. So you definitely need these guys. That's the time you should have contract. You should have all the legal documentations. You should have the monitoring mechanisms. You should have the QCs so that it doesn't fail in. You should have the right appropriate accountability partners. Why? Because these guys are highly skilled, but you don't trust them. They can flip jobs. They can today work from you. They can probably steal something, might be the company's very core data, or might be some sort of an intellectual property, anything. So these guys are probably, I'll say, they're very good in the brain, but not good in the heart. So what you do is you put a system to, probably have all this pilferages locked. Okay, you should have a lock and key here, and you should also have an exit policy. This is very, very important. Exit policy, whatever it is, might be a small amount of work, might be a web designing thing or something that you are, hiring somebody. He's good in that, but he's also having something else in his mind. So you should have an accountability partner always, and these guys are usually very viral, so they can infect a lot of people. Try to make them compartmentalize. What does compartmentalize means is you give them their own domain, make them happy, keep them in a place secured, and let them be with their own self and finish this job. But for that, you need to kind of a QC. You should have a proper plan of actions. You should definitely have a system which is running behind them, because you cannot trust these guys. Well, so that brings me to the third quadrant. I call it as the low trust and low what? Low skills. What are you going to do with this guy? You don't trust them. They don't have any idea what they're going to do. They are not somebody who would be definitely not be trainable and coachable also probably. And definitely I have a red mark for them. Sorry, this is something that I would definitely not like to do it. So what you're going to do is, only simple thing is help them with a new job. Okay, keep very nice relation with them. Why? Because these people are the viral guys. Since they're not good and trustworthy, so definitely they're going to talk and bitch about you outside. And since they don't have skills, so that's the only skill they have. So use it in a nice way. Keep them very happy. Give them a job. Tell them the world is very nice outside and they are more deserved in the different place. So this is a fantastic way to get rid of them. And happily ever after. Please part happily ever after. Should I write this? Please part happily. Okay. So please give them some kind of a credibility. Give them awards. If you don't even like to, give them an award. The most tidy looking person in the entire thing. Give them something. Keep them motivated. Okay. Okay. Give them some sort of recognition. Why you are giving this? All these things only you know it, right? By the way, these are all in the Hindu scripts. They have been designed and taught way to how do you manage your country, how do you employ your ministers, what kind of allies or the allies you should be actually talking about, right? So these are all there, and I'm just probably putting into a kind of a much more colorful version into this video, and I'm trying to talk about it. Cool. So we are already around 15 minutes inside. I'm sure there are a lot of insights going to be happening now. What is happening here is you have a very high level of trust and you have got very low level of skill, right? So I call them as the Ramu Kakas. I don't know if you have understood this word. Okay, if you see any of the Hollywood, sorry, the Bollywood movies, the Indian movies, there are always certain servants who are very, very loyal, very, very trustworthy, but they are servants like ages. So I call them as the Ramu Kaka kind of. Okay, it's a very known proverb in India. And if this video has been seen by people, so this is something that actually happens. Hindi movies are one of the most liked entertainment in the entire world. So I call them as the green guys. Why green? Because green pastures are very good. In fact, they're always looking forward to trust. Whatever you tell them, they're going to do about it. And you can definitely leave the lock open. You can give them everything because you can definitely trust them so much. Now, what you have to do with these guys are the future CEOs, future managers, because you trust them. Only thing that they need is learning, trainable, coachable. So you need to give them all these things. Give them those kind of stuff by which they are able to progress. That's the right word. Progress with your vision, not their vision, with your vision, because they don't have the skills. They can't see what you see. So give them constantly into learning and motivate them. Yeah, motivation is a very nice word. Motivate them. And what all things are there? These people are basically suffering one simple word called as procrastination. Help them to come out of it. Give them all the tools and techniques and all these things, but keep them moving. Since you trust them so much, definitely they have some sort of a thought process which is equivalent to you. So give them all this love and affections, but definitely what you need to do is you need to push them hard. Push them hard, but don't break them. So guys, let me just take a point of a small pause and understand here what has just happened. With just two things, skills and trust, you have identified 4 different levels, and probably we can go 10 times deeper into all these things, might be more than that also. Okay, what exactly to be done, how to manage your team. And now if you are thinking of anyone to be partner with you, anyone to be working for you, anyone who is already working with you, I'm sure you will be able to keep them into these 4 baskets and you can figure out what exactly have to be done. So this is usually the problem, because we learn half of the things. People just tell, okay, good skill and good trust, okay, do this. No, there are many other things that you need to do by yourself. It is your company, it's your baby, right? So you need to take the things seriously to the next level. So with that, probably we come to the first part of this entire thing, where we have just finished about the team structures and what to do with the teams and how do you basically, identify the doables or the plan of actions with different people around, and you have to do certain things. It is your company, as I said. So with that, in the next session, probably in the next the things that I'm going to talk about, we'll talk about more about how do you retain your customers. So with that, let me just take a pause and I'll see you in the next class.